Only a minute long. I found this one.
That's cool.
But we are live.
Yeah.
That's a fancy countdown deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
We've had a couple. Yeah, we've had a couple others that Pat's actually found for us. Yeah, we've had a couple others that let's see. We've got a few people popping on already.
How come
all right. Well, we're all here. Man, well, I'll tell you what. Let me start off by saying, welcome, Patrick. Welcome, Gary. And welcome, everybody else. Pat, Nikki, Wayne. Glad to have you guys here, and I'm glad you guys were able to make it on tonight. Originally, I wasn't going to even do a podcast tonight because technically I was supposed to still be in the woods. But yeah,
that's
me
what
and
I
Dad
was
decided to
fixing
pack
to
up a couple days earlier. Yeah, we decided to pack up a couple days early because when we went up to Wi-Fi, see, when Dad wants his beer refilled, we have to go to the store. So I go into Wi-Fi, and so yeah, we got weather alerts. My mom called, Dad, there's a thunderstorm coming. So I said, well, I checked the area, and I said, yeah, sure enough, there was one on the way. I said, well, Dad, it probably won't be here till like late tonight. But so when we got back to the camp, I got to thinking because Dad was ready to throw the tarp on the tent. He said, if you want to stick it out, we will. I said, well, if it's thunderstorm, if it gets real windy, I said, I know how it gets out here. I said, we can pack up and head out. We don't have, it won't take long to pack up. So yeah, we decided to head back home. So
I just noticed that my
it was
brother
great.
from another mother's on. Patrick, how you doing?
Okay.
Yeah. Well. Doing well.
Awesome. I guess we should all do sound checks. Everybody here. Yeah,
you hear
everybody hear each other pretty well? I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep. You're good, Wayne. Nikki's good.
Okay.
Gary's good. I'm not sure about Patrick.
Testing.
Yeah, I hear.
He's good.
Yep. I hear Patrick. I'm the only one with a delay, so if I.
Yep.
So if I start talking, and someone jumps over top of me, if I cuss you out, don't take it personally. No, I'm just joking.
I always do this right here if I have something to say or I don't step on it.
If you're in the woods with him, he'll throw a rock at you.
I did not do that. I was a squatch that threw a rock at Christy.
Oh my! Are we talking about Christy Wi-Fi or sci-fi?
Sci-fi.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Patrick, we gotta.
I would laugh at that one.
Patrick, we gotta get you healed up, man. We got a 10-mile trek come spring.
It's gonna take some exercise also.
I bet it's gonna take something for me.
Yeah, man. 10 miles out in the woods ain't no joke. That's for sure.
Me and Patrick kind of got together, and I had known the area for a while, but it is it's 40 miles to the nearest town, which is Broken Bow, Oklahoma, in the middle of the Kiamichi Wildlife Game Management Area. It's over 10 miles to improved road. And it's 5 miles in there on a 2-track in the middle of the mountains, and it's known to be a very active area. Everybody talks about Area X from the AWAC group. It's just south of their area. Patrick, I sent him some GPS on it, and he was looking at it. He was like, ooh, I'm excited.
There's an area in there that's very exciting. Well, that's a long walk out if you're being chased.
You ain't joking, my friend. You ain't joking.
We had some guys on it was actually on my Squatch Talk podcast, Gary, that were the guys from Southern Bigfoot Alliance.
Oh yeah, Shane and Brian.
Yeah,
Dustin.
Yeah, Shane and Brian, and they have an area just north of the Nowak area.
Bison.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
I just know it borders just to the
Yeah.
north, and where they found some tracks and some interesting things. So that whole area where from north to south, what you're talking about seems to be an infestation.
It
almost.
is. It is. There's a lot of. I went in with SBA, about 3 years ago. We spent almost 2 years rotating in and out of down there, and I'm from that area. But it's
with
crazy.
Brian and Shane.
Huh?
With Brian and Shane.
Brian, Shane, Dustin, Clark, Tim Autry. Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting, man. It's like I said, it's like it seems like an infestation. Despite Nowak's been out there for what 10 or 12 years, and they don't have any conclusive results at all, as far as I'm concerned. But they seem to be around.
That area is vast. I mean, it's about like Daniel's area. Patrick, sorry.
I spent 11 days just north of there. Primitive survival and a horseback. And there's a valley in there, and I'm a tracker. I tracked in there. I found absolutely zero sign of life in that valley. The animals had been run out of that valley for so long, there wasn't even mosquitoes. So, yeah, it's
wow.
Well, that's a good thing.
Well, you'll be off in there, and
yeah,
it'll go dead quiet.
But in my area, tracking. I go north and track to find it. I know where an area is that is about 15-mile radius. I went north of that, tracked, found another family. Went south of that, tracked, found another family. And just doing the math on my math, the way I'm seeing it, the population density around here is about 1 Squatch per 7 square miles of rural land. And that's pretty populated, actually, for them.
Now, are we talking about up in Oklahoma?
Hey, real quick.
Yes,
can people
Oklahoma
can you
and
hear me?
Louisiana.
I think they are.
Okay.
Yeah, we heard you, Wayne. Yeah. Real quick, guys. There was a question on the live chat. I just want to address it real quick. It's actually related to Bigfoot sightings. I take the visuals. I'm sure there's probably a lot of new people watching first. For those who have not been watching, I just want to throw it up there. On Friday nights, we actually have been doing our South Carolina Bigfoot eyewitness episodes. Tonight, we'll take questions. Of course, just, amongst ourselves or on a few other topics. But real quick, we will pick back up on the South Carolina Bigfoot eyewitness accounts starting on the 18th. Our next South Carolina witness will be Mr. Scott Phillips. He's an outdoorsman, big-time hunter. He's a major hog hunter. He takes down a lot of hogs down there in South Carolina. I had the privilege of meeting him last year. So as of the 18th, we will be doing our South Carolina Bigfoot eyewitness account. So we'll pick back up on that with episode 3. So I just wanted to, and so yeah, if you're new to this, you're South Carolina, you want to hear some stories, come on, check us out on the 18th. We actually had the last 2 Fridays. We've actually had 2 other South Carolina witnesses. So yeah, definitely check that out. If you're viewing from YouTube, feel free to subscribe if this is your first time. And I just want to throw that out there real quick.
Cool.
And there'll be another thing I'm going to bring up here very shortly. Who do we just lose?
Gary.
We lost Gary. Yeah, I just now noticed Gary's dropped. Oh, there he is. He just popped back up. Hold on. I heard it.
Yeah.
Camera.
Real quick, I want to address something with.
There you are, Gary.
Real quick, I want to address something with Patrick. So, Patrick, for years now, I've been saying. So let me get this correct. You said that you were out there for 11 days on horseback, primitive.
Yeah, north of the area that we were talking about, north of Smithville, Oklahoma, actually.
Okay, but I wanted to get the 11 days on horseback, primitive. Like
I'm a primitive survival, primitive living skills expert, and tracker.
Now that's interesting to me because I've been saying for years that so with the Patterson Gimlin film, a lot of people don't realize that those guys were out there on horseback, very primitive for 2 weeks. And they ended up getting the footage they got. And I'm always said I've never heard of anybody even coming close to replicating that. I've just never heard of it until now. You pretty much are saying you did kind of the same thing.
Yeah. But you got to understand, there's a whole lot of us. There's a whole bunch of us. There's a nation, actually it's an international group I belong to. But, and I protect that community because the Bigfoot subject does not go well in the primitive group when you're out there with maybe a knife or limited firepower, and you may do 140 miles on horseback through the Rockies, and you're camping along the way. This does not make for a good subject to discuss. So I have to keep this separate. I'm actually from that community, but I kept running into this, what wasn't supposed to be there. And I never wanted to know it was there, but it let me know it was there. So I had to start studying it. And so for 16 years, I studied it on my own with one other tracking partner. And then for a year, I tracked for a show. But I've got away from that, and I'm back to doing my own thing now. With sometimes I collaborate with C. Wayne and Gary here.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to point out that you're the first person in the Bigfoot world who has said, just said, without even being provoked to say it, I did primitive horseback for 11 days looking for or tracking for a Bigfoot. You're the first person I've ever heard say that in 50 plus years.
Pat, you need to come on down and head out in the woods with me. With either one of us.
And here's the other thing. Yeah, I want to ask you, what's the canopy like in that area during the winter?
During the winter? Not real thick. It's not thick in the winter.
So it thins out quite a bit?
Yes.
Okay. And so, Patrick, you say you've kind of calculated in your head based on your knowledge and experience and professionalism. You said about 1 every 7 square miles?
Yes. I've had encounters with 24 individuals of their species. I've had 8 locked eye to eye with them, 32 encounters with those 20.
Now, there is a little bit of a miscommunication here. Patrick's actually talking about his area in Louisiana. And then, Pat, I think you're still talking about Oklahoma.
Well,
I'm talking about Oklahoma and the canopy there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about 60% hardwood and about 80% conifers. Conifers are about 12 to 15 foot to 15 yards apart.
Okay. All right. So which area does the 1 every 7 square miles come in? Is Louisiana or Oklahoma?
Between here and I'd say between all of North Louisiana and into Mississippi and parts of Texas. Because I've hunted in Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and the population density really is. You'll find them. Most time I find them in a group of 3 or 4. On a larger part of land up in Arkansas, I did find 6. But they just had a different way they were living. In my area, my 4, when one gets up to where he can go on his own, he goes find his own territory. But then in the other area, it's kind of like the one that went and found the other territory just went right across the road. He was still in the area, But
okay. But would you concur that? I mean, would you say that part of Oklahoma that we were talking about is still like I said, like seems to be infested? Like
I
so
would
there's
say,
of them there.
I would say that part of Oklahoma probably has a higher density than my area.
That's what
Really?
I was just fixing to say. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely got a higher density.
All right. Well, then they'll be easy to find. All right. I
No,
yield.
they're not.
Oh yeah, they'll be easy to find. They can't outrun me.
You get your drone down there. I'm gonna be real interested to see the results of that.
I mean, if they're there and they are there in the way that you guys are saying they're there, I can cover 7 square miles in half an hour, bro. I'll find
you.
Yeah.
When you head this way, you give me a shout, and I'll push you within 10 or 15 miles of them.
I will.
I'll
Now,
even push you
Pat,
on my personal area.
Pat, have you gotten thermal capability yet on your drone?
No, I'm hoping to get the thermal capability before the canopy drops. Yeah, I got a lot going on. This the thermal drone is about $10,000.
So basically, within the next couple of months.
Yeah, hopefully. Like I got.
So you're looking at about a couple of months. Yeah.
Yeah, I got other things on the checklist that I kind of have to acquire first. But it's coming, and I'm hoping to be able to get out there and like hit it real aggressive this winter, because I don't want to have to wait another year and a half, because you can't do it until the canopy drops. So, yeah.
Well,
yeah. When I was out there in the woods, one thing me and Dad noticed, it was still pretty thick out there. I mean, the leaves are starting to come down, but it's still very thick. I did some hiking and up across from camp, going up the ridge, and I went through some pretty thick stuff there. So, but hopefully before long it should start coming down and thinning out here soon.
Yeah, it'll be a couple of months before it happens, even up there. I know where I am in Georgia. I mean, it's Vietnam right now, and it'll be that way until November, and we won't get a full canopy drop until early December. So.
In particular, I learned something from seeing a post from Steve Culls. Perhaps you guys have seen. I don't know who might not be familiar with it, but I thought I'd throw this up there. If you guys know anything about this, feel free to let me know. I did read the part of the article. I did screenshot the article.
Yeah.
Are you guys are familiar with this?
Yeah. I mean, she was arrested for
like I said, I saw this
attempted murder. Yeah, of her boyfriend.
Yeah,
Wow.
The screenshot, the part of the article I got read. Yeah, it says an Alexandria City woman has been arrested for attempted murder in Shelby County. Gwendolyn Michelle Jones, age 39, is in jail after firing a weapon in a Shelby County home second. Jones shot a Ruger 380 handgun multiple times at a victim while he was sleeping. Court records state once the victim awoke, he witnessed Jones standing across the room holding the pistol. She then fired additional rounds while standing in a hallway. And then it goes on to say the Outlook reported last month about Jones' affiliation with Bigfoot researcher as the Southeast Regional Coordinator. In a video of Jones recorded by the Outlook, Jones said she was helping conduct a search for Sasquatch in a portion of the Talladega National Forest. She stated, law enforcement for 15 years. Jones told the Outlook she had discovered adult male and female Sasquatch in the area, along with juveniles, and that she left food weekly for the creatures. Jones was searching for others across the southeast to have credible sightings of Sasquatch. Yeah, then it goes on to say Jones was charged with attempted murder, a Class A felony, attempted first-degree domestic violence, a Class B felony, and first-degree criminal trespassing, a Class A misdemeanor. So, yeah, that was interesting. But I read some of the comments under this, and after reading this, there is some details and some facts that are not quite put in there. So yeah, I agree with that, but interesting there. Throw this out there for the.
So
I'm
she
not
was
familiar. I don't
partnered
even know
up
who
with
this person
Todd
is,
Standing,
but
correct?
apparently they have association. Yeah.
Well, she sounds like a winner. I can't believe
I wonder
I
if
missed
Todd
out on
had actually
Bigfoot.
made any statements on this.
I haven't seen anything.
Well, the crazy thing is that you missed him.
Yeah, I saw this posted.
You missed every shot.
Yeah.
That's a 380 for you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's something don't. Yeah, something don't make sense. Something definitely didn't make sense in that one, but
No.
it was interesting. Johnny Tucker said, "Too bad she's hot." So,
I haven't. You was talking about what Todd's. What's funny? What Todd Standing was on it. I haven't heard nothing from him say anything about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's just got bad news written all over it, no matter what.
Oh yeah. And he's got enough stuff going after him right now, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Like Steve. Like Steve's. Steve keeps hinting. Steve calls. Keeps hinting that he's going to drop. He's putting together. He's about to drop like a big hit, basically hit piece on Todd. So he keeps hinting at it. I mean, we'll see what it what it turns out to be. But Steve, man, he's like he does his due diligence.
For sure.
Yeah.
I personally know the man. Me and Daniel's had this conversation before in the past. He is one of the most. I don't care if they accuse him of hoaxing or not. But he is one of the most motivated researchers I've seen, and passionate researchers I've seen. I don't know about his past. What some of the stuff I even question, but he is definitely, and he's in a prime area.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no doubt there's something to it with him, with Todd, and these things, as I call them. But I mean, he's like taking people out for money. There was like he got busted with some kind of like gorilla gloves or something in his trunk once, like by people who had paid to be out. Like they were like on camera going, "Why are there gorilla gloves in his trunk?" So
it's funny you say that, because one of his claim to fame is the hand coming up and grabbing the apple.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's a thing, man.
Yes,
like that video exists,
So what do y'all think about his pictures? I don't think I've heard any of y'all talk about give y'all's opinion on it. What do y'all think?
Fake, 100%.
Think so?
Yep. He's never been able to replicate anything he's done.
Well, here's another thing.
And there's
I've
just
had other
too
people
much
speak
stuff
up
out
and-
there that are
go ahead.
questionable. Too much stuff is questionable, his 2 production companies, the ad in the paper for actors, his girlfriend or wife or sister, whoever does makeup. There's just too many things. And then all of a sudden, nothing again. No other videos. He got that close and they didn't move, or he didn't stay and watch him walk away.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Exactly.
And in that area, you would think, if you think logically, okay, he got all these different Sasquatch, the way they look, and they're all very different, all 3 of them, but they're in the same area. It doesn't quite, usually you hear of, oh, in this area, I see a lot of ape-like ones, and in this whole other area, I'll see more human-looking ones. In Florida, I have more skunk ape-looking ones that are more orangey and maybe shorter, longer hair. But it doesn't make sense. Now, the Nordegg, I feel, is one of the hottest areas in the country. I definitely believe they're there. I just don't. Maybe he has one photo, maybe he has one video, but because you put them all together with stuff that, he's trying to make us believe so hard. I think it's ruined whatever credibility and whatever photo he did have of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, now I don't know how true it is, but I had heard somewhere before that the video that he has of something running up that steep incline, I heard that was pretty much real, or thought to be real. Let me rephrase. But he didn't get that. That was from someone else. Have y'all heard that?
That was actually a Paul Freeman film.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
Paul Freeman. That wasn't a Paul Freeman film. No way.
You talking about where he's jumping up the deal?
Yeah, he's running up a very steep incline.
I know which one, and that's the one I've always thought that could have possibilities because of that angle and the how long the step was.
Yeah.
But I never heard of any connection with Paul Freeman on that one.
Yeah, Paul Freeman died.
Yeah,
I might be wrong.
Paul Freeman. It doesn't have anything because Todd.
He was in a totally different area. The trees are totally different.
Like Todd was actually on Finding Bigfoot, and with that footage.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're right.
Yeah,
my bad. It wasn't Paul. Yeah,
and so Todd, that was kind of weird that footage got popular, obviously being on that TV show. And the funny thing is that the entire Finding Bigfoot cast dismissed it as a hoax and dismissed him as a hoaxer, on that episode, basically to his face.
So Pat, you're saying that footage was taken by Standing, right?
Yeah, that's Todd's footage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I've listened to the man talk about the subject of Bigfoot intimately, about their personalities, their behaviors, their perceptions, how they perceive you. And I can say the man has had encounters to the point where he is knowledgeable of them. But just like everybody else, he keeps hitting that brick wall of getting footage on him, and he fakes it, and he trips over himself and has ruined his own credibility.
I think Miss Nikki brought up something earlier that I wanted to elaborate on about the facial, and the different structures and stuff. Most of y'all know my story about seeing one at 18 inches. And those pictures and videos that he showed, and Pat, I know, or Patrick, I know we both know what you've done. Nothing like what I see. The videos that he shows, it looks like little Pomeranian dogs. No, that ain't nothing like what I see.
And guys, I don't know what y'all think, what y'all's opinion is, but he could have the best work ethic in the world, could be, the most motivated person out there and actually getting some good stuff. But the first time you fake something, that ruins it all, in my opinion. It throws every bit of it away. You can't be trusted again.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, unless you're absolutely right. Town,
Well, also, out of the eight I've seen, full-bodied, you're lucky to get 2 to 3 seconds of that, and then they're behind brush.
Right.
That's why I've had so many behind the brush, in the bush, and so few, as a ratio, seeing them just stand there full body, and they don't stand there long, 2-3 seconds. It's fleeting, So
Right.
for him to get out there and put and I'm gonna tell you, you don't walk up on these things unless it's an absolute fluke, or they know you.
Yeah.
You don't walk up on them. You got to sit still and have them come to you, and you're not going to be able to just get a facial shot and then have it look like that. But like I said, I think he had the best of intentions. I just think it was a mistake.
I tell you what, if somebody gets close enough to get that kind of a shot on one, they've either got to be real good or real comfortable, and they've got to be real lucky to get back out of the woods, because you get that close to one, it's a pretty hanky situation.
Yeah, my mind is not, I go in crisis mode, and I'm pretty good at managing the crisis, but my mind is not fully rational, functional with one 20 feet from me. It's just not.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I wouldn't know how to act rationally or have the full mental faculties to go through it all. Crisis management mode is the best I've ever been.
Yeah, dude, and you're right. And a lot of people have this ridiculous argument that they don't understand. They said, well, everybody's got cell phones now. So, I mean, for the past 15 years, right? Well, somebody should have gotten great video of them. And it's like, you don't understand what happens when this happens to people. The last thing on their mind is reaching in their pocket and pulling out their phone. Honestly, their phone is probably being soaked with urine. Like, it's so opposite of what you could just. Well, they should pull. Why didn't they pull out their phone and film it? It's like, you don't get it, man. You don't get it.
Well, time. Go ahead, Gary.
I've just pulled up that video that y'all was talking about, the running up the cliff. Watch Todd Standing's documentary, the intro to it, and where he's bouncing back and forth up the cliff himself. And then you watch this video. I can tell you right now, I've got it on a stabilized program. This thing's got pants and a shirt on, and it's moving a lot like Todd Standing. Now I'm pissed. Sorry, I'm a bulldog when it comes to that.
Yeah.
You put these two side by side and watch him run up the.
Yeah, because that video of a supposed Sasquatch running up the cliff it's inconclusive. Just like pretty much all other Bigfoot footage. Except for, I mean, to me, the PG film is not inconclusive.
Right.
To me, it's actually very conclusive.
Oh yeah.
And then some people could make arguments for a few other clips here and there, but really we don't have anything conclusive, outside of the PG film. So Todd's stuff is no different, except for the pictures. And then what do you do with that? Is it real? Is it not? It looks kind of funny. Like you're saying, it doesn't look like any Bigfoot I've ever seen. The only thing compelling I found about the pictures of the one in particular, I can't remember what he calls it, but it's the male-looking one, is that the eyes seem very far apart. Like they just seem unnaturally far apart. And I don't know if that's accurate or not. It just that was the only thing I ever found compelling about that, was the eyes being so far apart. That's it,
Well, the only time I was fishing on a levee, and in my area. And I look down about 115 yards to my right, and I see something standing on the levee. And it's the little one that's growing up that has always plagued me in that area. And I put my gear, he knows what fishing gear is. I put my fishing gear down, grabbed my phone out of my pocket. As soon as my phone slid out of my pocket, he ducked and went in the bush. So they watch your hands.
Yeah, they watch you.
They watch your hands.
He might have thought you were going for a gun.
Yeah, well, he had been shot at or shot just the December before by a road hunter. And I was in there when he got shot, and I got out there quickly. It took a while to repair. It took a while to repair that relationship with him.
You talking about Junior?
Yes, Little Sam. And I'm not saying we sit down. Yeah, we don't sit down and eat apples together. Okay, it's just that he knows I exist, and he knows I exist. I know he exists. We can get within 50 yards of each other, and not try to kill one another. You know, that's about the extent of it.
Let me ask you this, Patrick.
Yeah.
You said something that kind of blows my mind. Now, how in the world can a Sasquatch survive a bullet wound without any kind of medical attention?
A deer can, any animal can, you can, as long as it doesn't hit anything vitable. Who is that? It's not me.
I mean,
is it me?
I don't think it's me.
I don't think it's me.
I just don't close my head.
Everybody.
Yeah. But
I'm gonna mute mine.
Yeah.
When Gary dropped off, the static got. Yeah, when Gary dropped off, I heard it disappear.
Yeah, I'm looking now.
But I've seen deer. I've seen deer on deer cameras. I've seen deer on trail cameras with wounds in them, and they made it past it. But this wasn't a rifle. The guy was road hunting, and I tracked him, and I knew where he was going to be at and when he was going to be there. And I was set up with a camera to get a picture of him. And he had just hit puberty, and he was running and screaming down this drainage, just kind of a creek area. And he'd get real quiet just before he crossed that little dim road. Well, when he jumped, I heard a pistol go off. Pow, 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 pow. Well, then it goes quiet for about 30 seconds, and then I hear his mother open up. She sounded like a train horn going off, shaking acorns off the trees. And his mother is actually when I first met. So she's over there going, "Roar!" Well, the guy in the truck takes off, and then I hear him. Actually, I hear the juvenile, Little Sam. He's already made it across the road 200 yards down to my other side of me. I hear him back there go, "Roar!" And I get out of the area. But whoever it was a blue Dodge truck, and I better not see that blue Dodge truck again. And I don't think he'd want Sasha to see that blue Dodge truck again either.
Well, sure, yeah, that's for sure.
But that was first part of November, December, Christmas time. I was tracking in another area 3 miles away. When I found his track, I found a running deer, and I was looking for what predator was chasing this deer, because I was hunting too. And I didn't know what kind of predator was there until I went to tracking this running deer, and I found him 15 yards to the left of this running deer. He stepped in an ant mound that was about that big, single foot track. And I said, he's alive. I didn't know for like almost 5 weeks whether he was alive or dead. But he's still up there. So.
Huh. Well, maybe it was just a glancing wound.
I was furious. I got out of there because my truck wasn't 100 yards away from where he got shot. And I was considered in that. I actually did an expedition in there with a show, and we got a 3-knock, a 6-knock, and a 3-knock warning to get out of that area. And we did. because of all that went down.
Right. Yeah.
They
could have thought it was you. Right. Yeah. It turns on you. Yeah. Sure.
So Patrick, you gotta be truthful with this. That was not a 3-knock, 6-knock warning. That was a 3-knock, 6-knock rage hit warning. I've got the audio on that. That guy was pissed.
Hey, did you hear the yell, the scream, the
I'm gonna amplify it and send it to you tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, is that not public? Is that not public stuff, Gary?
That would be totally up to Patrick. He that's his audio. I mean, you could ask him, and I wouldn't mind if it's.
So actually, it is public. It's on another show that I used to track for.
Okay.
You'd have to look up North. You'd have to look up North Louisiana expedition from Bigfoot Explorer. I don't track for. I don't.
Sure. I mean, if you don't mind, if you don't mind publishing it again, I'd say go for it. I'd like to hear it.
I'd love to hear it.
Well, I'll tell you what I could do. I could process it and send it to you privately. Patrick wanted me to.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. All right.
Or if Patrick don't mind, give me about 10 seconds, and Daniel don't mind, I can play it right here.
It's up to y'all.
Oh yeah, Patrick's.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure our viewers and listeners would love to hear it too.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Hey Gary, did you clean up the chest slapping and the juvenile yell I sent you the other day?
I've got both clips. Now, if I recall right, the short clip was.
I think that was the chest slapping, the chest beating.
Okay.
But I don't know.
In sequence.
I don't know if they would hear it unless they had a real good earbuds in.
Yeah.
So
what I'll do is I'll play what I have, and then I can clean it up and send it to each one of them tomorrow.
Okay.
But let me just a second here. And folks, I do apologize. I am on my mobile system because my wife is working in our studio for her job. So this is stuff I use while I'm in the field. So have patience with me.
Yeah. We're gonna try and play it. People are dying to hear it already in the comments here. So.
Yeah, I'm working on it as we speak. Take just a second. I'm not as high tech as some of you guys. I'm a low tech redneck, so it takes me a minute to coax this computer to.
All right, Gary, you're a very capable person, man.
I'm very low tech. Most of the time, I got a knife and a phone with me. That's it.
I know, right? So you don't? Hey, do you not, Patrick? When you're out in the woods, are you usually not armed with a firearm?
Yes. It depends on who I'm tracking. If I'm tracking in my area, a lot of times I just have a knife on me. I've got a hand forged 17-inch blade knife I built for myself for teaching primitive knife only survival classes. Yeah. So I'll carry.
Does that include how to kill a hog that's attacking you with a knife?
You can make a snare and catch one and kill him with it. I'm not tackling a hog.
Yeah, but sometimes they attack you. They're pretty mean. They're mean little SOBs, man.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. I got a 6-inch scar on the back of my leg from one.
Wow, really?
Yeah, that's the tooth that did the damage.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll either carry my knife or I'll carry my MP40 Smith & Wesson with a Taylor 6 tack light laser sight.
Yeah.
But it just depends. It just depends on if I know the area. I have carried an AR-15.
Yeah. I usually take a rifle in the woods, but at least a pistol. I think even hikers, day hikers, anybody. My God, dude, like you could get attacked by a person on a hiking trail. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's better to have a gun than not have a gun, you know?
Well,
if you see a Sasquatch, just do not point the damn gun at it. It's a simple rule, right? Just don't point a gun.
There's the screen. Click it one more time.
That's on the phone. That's on the phone.
Was y'all able to hear the screams?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Yeah.
That situation.
Yeah.
I was a hunter,
dude. Like, I've heard that before.
That's a little juvenile. It has about a 7-inch track right now. I haven't named yet. That's little Sam's sibling.
Mm.
But it was 100 yards. I do a knock and I hear this chest beating. You know, and so I recreate the chest beat with my knock sticks because I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to communicate with him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to communicate with him and I screw up. I shouldn't have done it. But when I did that little one starts screaming, takes off running back to elevation. And then a rock comes in and hits my recorder and my laptop. This laptop is sitting on the hood of my truck. A rock comes in, hits my recorder. You can actually hear it go clink, clunk, and roll down the hood of my truck.
Mm.
And that's because they don't like technology. I mean, this is my group that I was with, but I've never had technology set up with them, and they don't like technology at all. So I won't do that. I won't do that setup again.
Mm.
Yeah,
those screams, man. They got the hair on my arms standing straight up.
See, there's with me being in the system here, there's actually a lot going on there. Me and Patrick had a long discussion about that the other day. There's actually 3 individuals in that one audio clip. You have the young one that you hear the screams, and then in the background, and Daniel, you'll get a kick out of this one because you was describing that to me. You can hear over the ridge, the big male, get that deep booming roar. And I'll bring all that out tomorrow. I'll send it to you guys. Try to clean it up. But then you can hear something at the right literally throw, and it bounces off of the microphone. If they threw a stone or something. Patrick, what did they throw?
They threw a little rock about like that.
Yeah. Now, do you want to hear the clip of the chest? What he thinks, what Patrick thinks is the chest slaps?
Yes.
Okay. Take me just a second. Well, you might have to play all the way through.
Yeah.
Take me just a second. I need to get these extracted and cleaned up. I was going to do it tonight, but I got Daniel kidnapped me. Here we go.
Did you hear that drumming? Yeah.
I heard it pretty well. I don't know if y'all did.
I didn't actually.
That one's just hard. Is it happen immediately after you do the wood knock?
It's right before I asked, did you hear that drumming?
Yeah.
It's kind of it's not actually a knock, it's just a concussion. It's just a dum 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 dum.
Yeah, you can hear it. I'll extract it and clean it up tomorrow morning, first thing, and send it to you guys, and then that way, I'd like Daniel to hear it because Daniel's heard stuff like that before in some of his experiences. I think it myself. I think it's more of a, like you Patrick was saying, a chest slap. I mean, because it's a real hollow sound.
Well, he was about 80 yards to my left with the little one. The little one was about 95 yards straight in front of me, running from across the backside of a palm through some woods, headed back to elevation where I know Mom is. Back towards that big huff that you heard. So it was an interesting night. That was first part of May, I think. That was an interesting night.
Now, Patrick, I got a question for you, bud.
Yeah.
You and I have had many conversations about wood knocks, the one knock technique and all this stuff. What do you use to do your knocks? Do you have one certain thing that you always use, or do you just try to find the closest stick to you that you think might work?
What you heard on the audio was actually a set of custom-made wood knockers that Christie Sci-Fi gave my tracking partner up in Oklahoma. And what I normally use is a maul handle, and I'll cut about 4 inches off where the head's supposed to be, and I like a good solid tree that has good resonation, a good resonating sound, and I'll hit that thing as hard as I can. But I use single knock. Go ahead.
This I ordered this myself, and it came in today, which is weird. It worked out that way, but I don't know if you're familiar with these or not. They call it a tire thumper. It's for checking the tire pressure. Truckers use it. It's like 17 inches long, has a metal rod down inside of it, and I haven't tried it out yet, but I'm anxious to get out there and see how it sounds.
Well, I'm concerned about the metal rod that's in it because you can't change the pitch of wood. But so long as it sounds like a home run, if you look up those old black and white baseball clips where people are hitting home runs, it's just that solid home run off a wood bat sound. That's exactly what they sound like.
Because I was torn between trying this out. I wanted that because it's compact, it'd be easy to carry, and throw it in my backpack and everything. It was between that or just an old-fashioned wooden bat. And if this don't work, that's what I'm going to go with. What do you think about that?
It'd be good. Bigfoot Whisperer, I don't think they are still. I don't think they're comfortable with me or used to me. It's just that they are desensitized to my presence and they know that I'm not going to do them harm. But as far as being used to me, they still don't just walk up to me. The little one, he's about a foot taller than me now, but I met him when he was about 4.5 foot tall. He'll come up within 40 yards of me, piddle around. He'll do a whoop. And that's as used to me as he is. Most of the time, he loves to watch me go fishing. There's a pond up there. I'll go fish, and he's fascinated by watching me fish. And I don't know what the fascination. I don't know if it's that they don't catch fish, successfully, and they're studying the technology I'm using, or if he just wants a damn fish.
Well, I'll say
it kind of goes back to Bigfoot. I just think they're kind of curious, that they may not be aware or might not know what you're doing in particular, but I found, not just in my experience, but from hearing others being caught in the moment, I just think people in general, our ways are way completely from theirs, So, yeah. But I'm sure they probably in certain areas. I think they probably do see other people go fishing, but they're probably trying to make heads and tails unless they do see us catching the fish and while they're watching. It's like they're probably to catch fish.
Well,
I think you're just very curious too.
Yeah, I know they're definitely. Well, they study you. Okay, whenever you go in the woods in an area to do something, all right, say you go to a WMA and you know where a campground is, and you walk down the trail, you do your thing, and you leave. They watch you because the biggest question in their mind is what's going to change their little world. They don't want their little world to change, and so if you go in and you do the same thing every time, they'll let you pass right on by. You'll never know they're there. If you go in doing something different than what anybody else does in that area, then you're going to get checked out and draw attention to yourself because does this change my little world? That's the question in their mind.
Absolutely. Patrick told me one day, we were discussing last week, I think it was, and I totally agree with him. In my experience, it's worked that way too. When I go into an area, I don't even try to pattern the target species' activity. Even looking on trails, I target the humans' activities in that area, using either by watching them, observing them myself, or looking at its trail sign. For the simple fact that the target species is going to pattern themselves accordingly to what the humans are doing. They got certain things that they like to do. Certain areas they love the high ground, but they don't want to be on a ridge top, so they'll be halfway up. Being downwind, they'll always follow a trail, 10 to 15 feet on either side, even a game trail. And it's worked out very well for me in my experience, in my personal, area that we have down here.
Wow. Yep. That's so military-like. What you just described, Gary, that's what an operator would do in the woods.
Absolutely.
They would stay in the middle of the ridge. They don't want to silhouette themselves. They want, a good military operator will want to be able to escape towards the top if they need to, or the bottom if they need to. Yeah.
It's not even so much military as it is hunting. Anybody that's deer hunting know that you'll stay uphill because the thermals will as it warms up, will suck the, out of a valley or something up behind you. So anything down in the valley, they're not even going to smell. Right. But yeah, you're right. Me and Patrick all the time. It's so funny because he comes from more of the civilian side of things. And as you can see, and everybody knows I'm ex-military, but, and I did mine from the military side, but that's the way I've done it. Me and Daniel's had long conversations about that, and even in his area, he's done so much hunting and fishing in his area. He knows what areas to go to. You go to where there's food. You go to where there's water. You go to where there's prey. And I have a hard problem. Daniel, here we go. I'm going to start. Yep. I have a hard time with a lot of these researchers that just want to run out here chaotically. Let's bang on trees and hoot and holler and shine lights. Put a little bit of thought into what you're doing, and you'll get a lot better results. There's a method to this madness. And a lot of folks has
well, they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are the ultimate primitive survivalists. And so using what they need at that particular time of year, and after so many years of tracking them, their home sites become almost as obvious as a homestead that a person would make out in the woods.
Absolutely.
Because all the criteria, the criteria in my area for a Sasquatch is the same as the criteria in Mississippi for a Sasquatch, which is the same as the criteria in Arkansas for a Sasquatch. They want privacy, they want elevation, but they want to be able to hide in the elevation. They want a quick access to game for food, and there has to be a water source close by. Right. And when and they don't just go in there and look for a place that kind of sort of suits that. They're there 24/7. There's no off time for a Squatch. They find the best place. They search out and find the very best place that that does for them, and that's where they'll go to, and that'll be their daytime hangout away from people. If someone comes to the woods, they'll go to that area and hang out. They'll sleep there. But in my area, they have two places. They have a winter home and they have a summer home. And in the summer home is way down this creek behind some private land that no one can get to. But now their winter home is behind some timber company land bordering public land. And it's within earshot to be able to hear anybody coming down that rock road. You can hear a car a half mile away coming down that rock road. So that gives them a heads up. So they can be in their area relaxing and hear someone come in the area and know to be careful. They can pattern you.
Yeah. It's funny,
guys. I got to get out of here, guys. I done my hour, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'll be listening. Y'all have a good show. We'll see you next time, guys.
Good to see you, Wayne.
Hey,
yeah.
Thank you very much, Wayne.
It's funny, Patrick. Like all the things you checked off, elevation, food source, water. Those are the exact same places human beings want to go as well, even recreationally. Sometimes. So it's no wonder that the two kind of collide every now and then.
Well, yeah, and if they see you coming, and you don't know they're there, they'll just back out of the area.
Sure.
And and most people put their head down, they go to an area, they do a thing, and they get back on the same trail and they leave.
Absolutely.
They don't look around, they don't look for tracks. And if you don't know, they're not going to let you know. They don't want you to know. It's when you find out, and when you know, it all changes.
Mm-hmm.
When you know and they know it really changes. Because then I've been out tracking and had them come up behind me tracking me. And when you're a half mile back or so, and they're in between you and you're out, and they're on your trail tracking you, it's a little intimidating.
Yeah. Well, I say this all the time, and people are probably tired of hearing of it, but I'll say it again. We're outclassed. Like, you're not going to get the jump on them. You are not going to trick them into some amazing footage. You're not going to trick them. You're not going to get the jump on them. If you did, it would be an anomaly, which you sort of spoke to earlier. Like, 1 in a billion chance that you're going to get the jump on them. And you're probably a person that doesn't even think they exist. Like, that would be the person that did get the jump on them just by pure luck and doesn't even know, like, what they're looking at. They can't even interpret what they're seeing, like maybe a turkey hunter who's well blinded and one just happens to come along, something like that. But yeah, dude, we're outclassed,
Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, their capabilities. Go ahead.
I've always wondered, and I asked this to Gary on a podcast like a year ago that when I was on his show, I was like, I've always pondered, I'm like, what would happen if you put together a squad of Navy SEALs and sent them out into the woods to deal with Bigfoot? What would happen? Like, I'm wondering just how close, how that would measure out. Like, what do you think, Patrick?
I can tell you from experience, I can't get within 460 yards of my group without them around there. And I don't care how I'm dressed. I can be downwind approaching quietly. 460 yards, they start yelling at me. Okay, they know I'm there.
Right.
That's their eyesight. They have great eyesight. They can climb a tree and get a little better perspective than you. They can pick you out in the dark in a rainstorm at 400 yards with no, and that's with your light off. Okay. Wow. I witnessed one do 38 to 40 miles an hour in the dark in a rainstorm on a moonless night in the woods. So they have no problem maneuvering through the woods. They have their eyes are light collecting. You've heard of light collecting scopes. A lot of the hunters know about light collecting scopes.
I mean, their pupils must be that big. Yeah.
Yeah, and they are.
Pupils are extremely big.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you from a 6 foot apart encounter about 4 weeks ago. Yeah, their pupils about that big. But
which is great that's how you collect not extra light at night. You know?
Absolutely.
But their eyes are light collecting. They're extremely intelligent. They can move extremely fast, extremely quiet. If Navy SEALs went in, and there's no way they're going to get you might get, if you're lucky, get a shot at one at 1,000 yards if you're sitting still, just the right place, just the right time. But it's going to be a fleeting shot. And I think if you do wound one, you're not getting out of those woods. Okay, you start a war with one of them. They're not alone. Only one time have I ever tracked one that was completely alone. All the other ones had 3 or 4 of them around.
Yeah.
And as fast as they move, I wouldn't want to be that
guy. All I can say is like, it's an interesting thought to me. But, if I could bring some Navy SEALs in here right now, just on the fly, they would all disagree with you. But of course, they don't know what they're dealing with. Like, well,
they're
badass.
If you could give them all Iron Man suits, they'd have a chance.
Yeah. Well, it's called a Predator drone. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Patrick had a very good point when he was talking about 1,000 yards. That's going to have to be with a thermal scope. Because and what a lot of people don't understand, and Pat, you'll know, from your experience with thermals, is it doesn't take much to dissipate your body heat. Fur will dissipate your body heat if it's raining or something. You get behind trees. I'm going to be blunt with you. Being at the level that I was in the military, I was one of the best the Army has to offer. I was Airborne Ranger, and we are a bunch of badasses. And I used that experience to help me in my research. But I'm telling you right now, there ain't no way I could touch one of these guys if I wanted to.
Sure.
I mean,
go ahead.
Hey, I believe that. And that's pretty much what you told me, Gary. Like when I asked you that question a year ago on your podcast, you pretty much said the exact same thing, Well,
I'm gonna throw a wrench in it here, guys. I'm gonna throw a wrench in it for you. What would you think if you're tracking in the dark and you're tracking along for a couple of people, and you're tracking along and you're looking at the ground, and all of a sudden you notice 6 feet off your left knee, 2 sets of eyes 9 inches apart watching you, and they're down about 4 feet off the ground, and they're watching where the light is. And you move the light around, and you watch the pupils move where the light is looking. So you hit it in the face with your spotlight. This is not a flashlight. This is a spotlight. Right. You hit it in the face of the spotlight, and all you see are eyes. You see no facial structure. You see no hair. You see nothing of the chest, just eyes. And as it slowly turns, you're looking at it, and it's the same color as the night, except for the very brightest spot of your spotlight. You make out a little bit of matted fur or hair, and as you move your spotlight, it's wide. You can find other particular square inches of hair as you move your spotlight on it, but only in the very brightest part of that spotlight do you see it. But on the outside of that, it's just the color of night. Now, how are you going to find that with a flashlight? I mean, what sees that? That's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like,
that's a first.
I'm done. At that point, I'm done. I'm like, okay, there's something going on here I don't want to have anything to do with. Like, I don't see how that could be natural.
I had never come across that. Most of mine, and looking back at my second encounter, I wasn't a rational person. I had his eye shine, 8-foot guy, and his eye shine in my flashlight, a little flashlight, not even a big flashlight. And I didn't recall seeing any facial structures. All I saw were eyes. But it didn't dawn on me at the time.
Yeah, that's weird, man. That's weird because a lot of people report, and Gary Mike could touch on this, says he saw one right here. That they don't have hair on certain parts of their face, So you would think that would illuminate, even if it's charcoal gray in a spotlight or even a flashlight, their face should be illuminated by light.
Their skin is pigmented different than ours.
It's almost like the light was sucked into and around them and was left the color of night. Except for, if you take a 1500 lumen spotlight, you got a spot about that big that is super bright. And you see these V-shaped hair where it's been rained on and matted.
Yeah.
And you can move that spot and you see the matted hair, but it's only in that bright spot, and it's almost it's like a flat black almost, It's weird. I'd never experienced that before.
No, yeah, that's very bizarre.
On the facial hair, I think that's individualistic.
Hey guys, can I jump in?
Sure.
Hey guys, can I jump in real quick?
Go ahead, Dane.
There is one picture that was sent to me. Yeah, Viper Getty. Viper Getty had sent me to my email. He just wants our opinion. I have it uploaded, ready to show. I don't know how well it'll show on the screen, but in the email he said if you look in the center here, I'm gonna actually go ahead and pull it up and I'll read what he sent me. Here it is, right here. I know it doesn't show that large up here, but he says, if you look in the center, the black figure next to the right of the stump, I was out getting ready to set up my tree stand and saw this. Then took the picture. Then he's asking, what do you guys think? So
you could zoom in on it, Daniel. Like if you click on it in the application window itself, you should be able to zoom in on it.
All right, hold on, Solo.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well,
I don't see anything.
I don't
see zero.
Yeah, I have.
There looks like a figure sitting down low
on the street. Yeah.
I'd have to have it on my application and look at it.
Yeah. There looks like I've got it blown up down here. It looks like a figure sitting down low, kind of peeking from behind a tree like this, real dark, almost like a black.
Like share it, hey, Gary. If you have it blown up, go ahead and try. Can you try and share screen it?
Yeah, let me try that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because on my phone, when I downloaded it to my phone before I uploaded it on here, I did a zoom in shot and I screenshot a zoomed in shot. But when I zoom in on my phone, it just becomes distorted and pixelated.
Well, I mean that's normal. But...
Well,
yeah.
Mine ain't letting me do it. That's weird. Oh, no wonder. Sorry, I'm on my little computer. I'm not on my big computer. I'm over here punching buttons. I can't do it. Sorry about that, guys. That's the difference in a Linux program and a Microsoft.
Oh, hold on. It's not going to show. It's not going to show up while I get. Let me get rid of my green screen because it's not going to show up the way I'm trying to show it. So, hold on. How do you? Hold on one second, guys.
No, you
right,
can't.
Hold on one second. Let me pick up my phone since I dropped my phone. Say.
I'm trying to start a fight with my sister.
I don't know how well this will show up, but I zoomed it in.
It looks like something, but I can't really tell.
Yeah.
No. Down below, up atop, in the middle, to the right. I don't see nothing.
I think he's referring to. Oh, hold on. If I keep. Of course. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, over the. It's hard to do from the phone.
Yeah, that's right where I was seeing.
I mean, I see a tree and part of a stump, but there is a darker image behind it. It's kind of showing from the to the right and almost left of the tree, but it's kind of inconclusive, to be honest.
Looks like you can plug it in. Are you gonna plug it into the computer?
Yeah, it would take some serious photographical manipulation to get it really. Because I even tried to blow it up here to where I could send it to y'all, and it pixelates out. So he must have took it at a distance with his. Did you say he took it with his phone?
Maybe.
I
Somebody says
think
it's
so.
a Black Panther. Sister side chat. Nikki's sister said, honestly, it looks like a Black Panther.
I'm not catching none of this chat.
He said, Viper, who took the picture, said, yeah, he took it with his phone.
Yeah, it would, if he could send the actual file, the JPEG file to me, I could probably blow it up, send it to Daniel. That way, show it. It would be hard.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Kelly. There he is. What's up, Kelly?
Well, since y'all, I'm gonna pull another Daniel.
Mr. Kelly Ray Jones.
I got a question. Been having a individual post a lot of stuff on different groups and get a lot of heat, I guess would be the best way to put it. But he sent me a picture that was quite interesting, and I'll have to pull it up and send it to you. But most of y'all know I've been out of the community for about 4 or 5 months. Individual's name, and the reason I'm doing this on the air is I want I'm not on my show, and I want a legitimate panel. Y'all are all in the community. C. Wayne Wilson, is that his name?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Some of his stuff has been pretty far out.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it is, Gary.
Sarcastically saying,
yeah.
No mind. I kind of wanted to say something, but I'll leave it alone.
I'll talk about C. Wayne. I have opinions, when it comes to C. Wayne. I actually had, recently in one of my groups, I had to get on people about making fun of him, actually, And my whole argument there, my whole point was that, look, there's something going on with this guy, man. He everything's a Bigfoot. He walks into the kitchen, there's a Bigfoot. It's that kind of outrageous kind of stuff. There's something going on. I stopped short of saying, there's mental disablement going on there. But I think that's kind of where it goes. And he finds himself in the Bigfoot world where he can get a lot of attention or whatever. And my problem was people making fun of him,
Yeah.
Because that's not cool, right? If if you see a kid in a wheelchair, you know, do you make fun of them? No. It's like, look, see Wayne, there's something going on there. It's not Bigfoot related at all. And so don't make fun of him. Like, so delete this post, you know, don't make fun of him.
Well, I will say this. I believe that he believes everything he says.
Oh, yeah. And so, I mean, so does.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
I mean, dude, I've met
given,
people,
yeah.
I've met mentally disabled people who thought that, you know, thought it was an octopus, you know, like people have problems, dude. Like people, if they have problems in their head, man, like, I mean, you know, there's a thing called schizophrenia, you know, and I mean, you have to treat that. You can't just, you say, oh, really? You know, like well, this is reality. You have to treat schizophrenia. And I'm not saying that C. Wayne has schizophrenia. I'm just pointing out that if people have problems in their mind, you know, you should try and help them, not beat them down, you know? Yeah. And I'm not saying that you're doing that. I'm saying I'm talking about something that happened.
Yeah. Well, I'm not beating him down at all. I'm gonna be honest with you. If a person searches enough, they're gonna hit something before too long, you know. And he does spend time in the woods, and I'll have to send it to you. It's on my other computer. But he posted a picture to me that was real thought provoking, and I'll send it to Daniel and Patrick. I'll send it to all you guys and let you look at it because, you know, he might have a lot of misses, but this I think might be a hit. It's pretty impressive. It's this much of a face.
Because you're right, he does go out in the woods. Yeah. You know, clearly he has 1,000 videos of him being out in the woods, and he has knowledge of like different kinds of snakes and when they might be out or where they might be in the woods. Like he seems to have knowledge of being in the woods. Yeah. So you're right, dude. Maybe there's something there, but like my only point is that overall, it's a lot of like way far-fetched things, you know, and there seems to be something going on there bigger than you know,
and it's like one of y'all said earlier about, you know, the one time that if you do prove that it's a hoax, then your credibility is lost from that point out, you know.
Yeah, I would say that he's not a guy who I don't think he would ever. Honestly, you know.
Patrick, did you want to say something?
Go ahead.
I collaborate with C. Wayne.
Yeah, I was going to just go ahead.
I collaborate with C. Wayne quite a bit on pictures and footage and things that he, you know, he'll video and he'll say, hey, I'm not sure what this is. And I can say that he has a picture of a track, and being a trained tracker, you can't fool me with a track because I've had a lot of people try. I know what to look for, and he sent me a picture of a sure enough Bigfoot track. So I know for sure and for certain, if he hasn't captured anything else on film, he's got a picture and maybe even a cast of a for sure Bigfoot track.
Yeah.
One thing about Wayne, and maybe you guys, if you guys are familiar with Wayne, I'm very familiar. I've had a lot of discussions in the past with Wayne Wilson. You know, and I've watched a lot of his stuff. I questioned him to the point where he got upset because he couldn't answer a lot of what I asked him. But the one thing that really threw me off is that he was seeing Egyptian gods in his, you know, either in his backyard or at the local park where he goes filming all his Bigfoots. And you know, he threw out Anubis. Anubis is one of the known gods, and he believes he's seen Anubis. You know, that's what threw me. He's even mentioned Anubis and Ra, 2 Egyptian gods. You know, that he sees them. I mean,
well, I thought Pat.
You know, I don't like to call nobody a liar, but that there.
We all see Ra every day. That's the sun god. So all you got to do is look up in the sky.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of it is all on what you believe. I mean, and what you're taught. You know, don't get me on the paranormal stuff, Daniel.
Yeah.
You know where I'll go on that. That's my baby.
Yeah.
I thought Pat said C. Wayne. I don't know Wayne Wilson.
Yeah, C. Wayne Wilson.
C. Wayne Wilson. Yeah.
C. Wayne.
Oh. You know him, Patrick. I'm gonna be honest with you. I enjoy talking to him. I mean, he's a nice guy. I just don't know him that well. You know, he had that one thing with me, and it was interesting. I mean, and I like how Pat put it. You spend time in the woods, you're gonna do it. I don't want to interject on anybody, but Johnny Tucker, Daniel, did you catch that question Johnny Tucker had?
Yeah, X formation.
Yeah, I'll pull it up for everybody.
Yeah, I lost it. It missed on.
I've come across this, and
before we move on,
filmed on the numerous. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted, before we moved on off of that topic, when you have somebody and they come up to you and they say, "Hey, can you look at my stuff?" I'm always excited to see other people's stuff. I want to see other people's stuff.
Yeah.
But the person who is giving you this needs to understand that if they don't get the answer they want to hear, they can't go ballistic. And all of a sudden you're the bad person because you don't believe them or don't see what they see in their photos or don't want to pass the photos around, or, because that's a big deal too, is that it's not just you try to be nice.
Yeah.
But I'm honest. And if I don't see something in the photo, I'm going to say, I don't see anything in the photo. And that's the end of it. But, oh, well, then you're blind, or you don't know because go out in the woods, or you
Right.
just sit on your ass and you're just an armchair researcher. You don't know jack shit. And, there's the other end to it.
Yeah, they take it personally.
Yeah.
Very,
so
very personal.
if you don't want to hear criticism, don't present it. It's great stuff. Keep it for yourself.
I agree with Nikki. I've popped a question up before Daniel asked me to come on in. And mine is, when it comes down to it, what is y'all's thought percentage of every time somebody goes out, they find something? That I find that hard to believe. My friend that I do research with in southern Alabama, well, not southern, but south of me, he lives in a hot zone. I mean, they live all around her, but she does not have constant activity every single night. Every time we go out, we don't find something every single time. And when you get people that are throwing these pictures off constantly, and it's like, wait a minute, time out. I don't see what you're seeing. And they try to outline it, no matter how many different ways they try to show you in their picture. It's just, I kind of ate crow last night because I thought I had something happening over here, and come find out they moved some cattle into the pasture finally.
Yeah.
So, what it was, and I admitted it. I was like, "No, hey y'all, that was my mistake, my bad."
Right.
'Cause I'm not going to put evidence out there unless Daniel is one person I really go to. If I have something and I'm not sure, I'll send it to him. I'll be like, what are your thoughts on this? Because I want some of the people that are very well known, well, not well known, but very well researched in this field, to look at that and see if they see the same thing I'm seeing, and then I'll put it out there. But I'm not just going to automatically take a picture and be like, "Oh, that's a Bigfoot," unless it's standing there saying cheese,
Oh yeah.
If I may.
Yeah. What do you think, Patrick? What do you think, Patrick, about that?
On the subject on people bringing their stuff to you, I tell them, if it's not National Geographic quality, it don't count. Okay, Blob Squatch don't work. Now also, to be tactful when you're critiquing someone's stuff, I use the word inconclusive. Okay, it's an inconclusive picture.
Yeah.
You cannot draw, there's not enough information to draw a conclusion about it. And that way it doesn't them. It leaves them their own little theories intact without destroying them. And you gave an honest opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Also, to answer your question about what percentage times do people actually go out and have success versus failure, I can say as a tracker and as being able to pinpoint and knowing not just tracking is only part of it. You got to know what moon's phase they work under. You got to know what time of day that they like to be out, because there's a certain level of light they will work in around you, and anything above that, they're away from you. Okay. Yeah. And I can say about my success rate at the best has been 80%. That's the answer.
That's okay. I mean, depending on the hot zone and whatnot, I agree with that. But 100%, I don't agree with.
It's just like I answered you in the text, Ashley. And a lot of it depends on there's too many factors. You got geographical location, you got population density. You have how much that group, just like with Daniel's group and his sighting, when he had the sighting of the 3, this group had been pushed pretty hard, so they reacted different, But if you're in a habitational type zone, where these things are in one area, and you have built up that trust, like with Patrick, they would have more success. But I have to agree with Patrick. I'm out there quite a bit, and I'm probably at like 25-30% in my personal property. Where we know they're there, and we know they're there all year round, and I'm at like 25-30.
Well, see, I haven't spoken to you before like this, but as the rest of the group, and you as well. But as far as Daniel, Pat, and Nikki know, I do have a friend that's south of me, and we go squatching a lot, and she has over 300 square acres. But back behind, and her family has tons of acreage surrounding hers. But at certain points, just outside, they've started, land stripping. And it's, she got a lot of reaction and stuff like that. She's gained trust with them. She has had some awesome experiences with them. And I've been down there. We've had some other people come in from different lights. We've had a cryptozoologist, another Bigfoot researcher, and had a great investigation. But with them, we know for a fact that they have set up home on her property. She's allowed, she lets them know they are welcome. But even with them in there, and and I want to say she doesn't have a tribe. She doesn't have a community. She's got a dadgum country of them. It's like a big there. But
may I ask?
With that, there's not every night. There's not 100% chance that we find stuff. Even when we had that weekend, it was about 4 days of investigation, pretty much. And even when we had that, not every night was, turned up any kind of evidence. We couldn't even get a whoop or a howl or anything that night. So,
may I don't want to know the exact location, but may I ask how far away from Eufaula, Alabama you are?
From what part?
Eufaula, Alabama.
That's southern, isn't it?
Yes. South.
Yeah, I think I'm about 3 or 4 hours from there.
So you're main in the central part of Alabama.
I'm in Coleman County. Yeah, so I'm just above like Birmingham and whatnot.
Yeah, please be careful in that area.
Uh-huh.
There are, and I don't want to get too deep into it until I clear it with Daniel and all them, but there are reports of a more aggressive type coming out of that area.
The rogues?
No, whole tribes. Multiple numbers of aggression, and they start out being like what you're talking about, being real. Daniel, you remember the report we took a year ago about them slapping the side of the house and stuff in central Alabama?
They did that to her.
Oh yeah.
They all over her house.
There's stories up here that's happening. Yeah, Alabama is a very squatchy state. There's been a lot of reports out of there. But I just wanted to throw in there, a couple of little side notes. related to the subject of seeing images when being presented, kind of relating to what Nikki was saying, and Deborah on the chat was even mentioning, like, as far as seeing, for the person who took the picture, if they're claiming they believe there really is something there, one of two things: perhaps they actually did see it in person and snapped a picture. They've been known to snap random pictures and look through them later to see if they can pick something up, even though they're not seeing it in person. It's two different things right there. But when presented stuff, when people claim there's something in an image and you give your honest opinion, even if it's in disagreement, like you believe there's nothing there, then perhaps you guys heard this one before. Well, you don't have the gift of sight. That's why you're not seeing what's in this image. I've had that thrown up at me numerous times. And I don't have the gift of sight, And in all fairness, too, when pictures, I think we could all agree on this one, too, that it's pretty evident or obvious that in a lot of times, pictures don't always do justice either. Again, it all depends on the quality of the image, the pixelation, the whatever device was used to take that image. I know with tracks, I've taken pictures of tracks, and if it's an impression in the leaves, it's not going to show up in a picture as well as if you were looking at it in person.
No.
But something I always try to keep that in mind.
Yeah, a lot of times I use baby powder to see if I can. A lot of times I'll use baby powder to kind of sprinkle over it to see if it does define it a little bit more, but it doesn't always work. And, the grainy pictures where it's bad pixelation, and like I've got a great video that I took in that boot camp where you could see where, one had run into the camp and then run back out. But we had it was, 2012 camera, the video phone was terrible. So it was grainy as it is. And the spotlights that we had when we were looking at it, it was terrible. So that's not something I'm going to put out there as good evidence unless you can get somebody that can really, I'm not good with cutting film and, piecing things together. It would be something you'd really have to watch in slow motion. And even then, just kind of, you can't see the actual, you can see the footprints in one line or one stream of the light, but still, it's not something I'm going to put out there for actual evidence. Even though it was a very personal experience for me, and I have no doubt what it was, it's still just because the evidence myself that I gathered, the video itself is such terrible quality, I'm not going to put it up because it's just, I want to keep my credibility. I'm not going to, I don't scream Bigfoot every time. It's just like the little boy that cried wolf. You say Bigfoot every time. When you finally do find someone or find some good evidence, everybody's going to look at it and be like, well, where'd that come from?
Well, it's been my experience that 90% of what I come across is just that. It's just and only my experience because the electronics that we have just does not tell the whole story accurately enough.
Absolutely.
I've had great yells and whistles and knocks, and when I try to go back to a recorder, it's kind of like a or a click. It doesn't really tell to the whole story what was experienced. And so there's a technology gap there, or perhaps even maybe it's just out of my reach to get the right technology that would bring home the real experience of what was there.
With you saying that, what kind of recorder do you use?
I use a Sony stereo.
Okay, because my friend, instead of me constantly saying my friend, I'll use her code name for her to keep her privacy. Cat Rabbit. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but she's got a real good digital recorder, and she'll leave it sitting in her window at night. And boy, she'll, if she winds up passing out or, doesn't hear it with her ears, she'll go back and listen. And there'll be some great howls and some whoops. And when we did that big investigation, we had this huge box microphone that picked up for miles. And it was, we've gotten some good ones, Pat, and we discussed this the last time I was on that, in his mind, vocals are more a personal experience because it's, in his mind. And like you, I'm a tracker. I've been an outdoorsy person my whole life ever since I was a kid. I know every animal sound and just what it is. And I'll be the first to say, no, that's not a howl or a whoop. That's a coyote. But, I mean, she's got recordings of some of those deep guttural, just, howls. And they're pretty awesome.
I'll tell you what, and I wouldn't tell this except I witnessed it firsthand. I have seen Sasquatch mimic coy wolf.
Oh, yeah.
I was twice. Once I was in central Louisiana, and this set of coyotes go up. And then you hear this real raspy rah, 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 mimic. And the person with me says, hey, do you hear that raspy coyote? I said, that's not a coyote. Right? Well, he doesn't believe me. Well, then about, 30 minutes after, that, I'm doing vocals and another person are doing vocals, this thing comes up 40 yards out and goes, rah, rah, rah. I said, that's not a coyote. Everybody else said, no, that's not a coyote.
Yeah, Daniel, I'm gonna send you. You remember me telling you about the roll call, where when we were walking down the road? It was
yes, I believe so.
Okay, I'll tell you this story real quick. There was when we were doing that investigation, me and the Bigfoot researcher, we'd split up into groups, and the cryptozoologist went down the road, and we thought, as far as we thought we split up was just one of our other researchers, and we brought a skeptic along, and it was me and the Bigfoot researcher, and we decided to split up, see who got what from what end, and we weren't getting anything, and so he's like, we might as well just call it a night, and he just yells out, roll call, to get everybody's attention and see where they are, and I want to say probably 20, 30 feet, we were about 20 feet away from the wood line, so anywhere from, 10 feet inside, we hear, and it sounded exactly like the skeptic's voice. And he goes, yeah. And you're just like, okay, well, there he is. Now we need to gather the rest of the group. And we even spoke to him. We're like, hey, we're going get everybody else because nothing's happening. And one of the researchers, she comes walking down the road by herself. And we're like, hey, you left, the cryptozoologist up there? And she was like, no, he's there with a skeptic. We're like, no, he's not. The skeptic's right there in the woods. He just answered, he said, yeah, when we called roll call. She's like, no, he's down there. And they were probably a good ways down. I stepped out and I got the FLIR and I'm looking. Sure enough, there's two bodies standing there talking. And it was, I'm gonna send it to Daniel. I've got it on my phone, so it's I don't know if he would be able to share it on here tonight or what. But it's an awesome, you really got to listen because there's a whoop that follows. It's like it goes roll call and then you hear, yeah, quietly, and then there's a whoop. But it's, let me see, okay. Daniel, where you at? There you go. I just sent that one to you, and
let me turn my.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to put it up. But it's one thing you really have to listen. I mean, sometimes you need earbuds, sometimes it's audible.
All right, just give me a little bit. I had to turn my Wi-Fi back on my phone. I try to turn the Wi-Fi connection on my phone, so it strengthens my signal on the laptop here.
Oh, you're cool. It's just it's if you want to.
Yeah, I've heard them mimic. I've heard them mimic owls, wolves, or canines. I heard one mimic a donkey.
Donkey.
That's creepy.
Well, I sent him the other audio where you can tell it's trying to mimic a coyote, but it kind of gets caught up in the middle of that owl, and you can definitely tell that's not a coyote. It's hidden in there. It's making that sound, but nope.
Yeah. If you know their voices, you can pick out that's not a canine.
Oh yeah, if you're familiar. One time I heard some kind of weird sound coming out of the bush, and I mean, it almost sounded like a bird call, but this was early morning, and the only thing I could like really, I guess you could say, relate it to would be somewhere along a goose, but we didn't have, there's no water around where we were, and it was just so strange. This was one of my first experiences, though, that got me into it after having really seen one. But the audio was, I tried to catch it, but all you hear is of course, with that phone, it sounded like somebody just going, and it's like, that's not going to be something that's inconclusive, as was said before.
Well, I do that to myself quite a bit.
All right, hey, Ashley.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Ashley, I got those two audios you sent. Pick up through my microphone right here, but I'll give it a try if you like.
That's up to you.
You guys are.
Here, I'm gonna mute mine just so no.
Right, I'm gonna. Okay. Yeah, just keep in mind, I have a slight delay between you guys, so. But here we go. Here's the first one. It's only 8 seconds. All right, now hold on. Let me play the first one back again because I did hear that where it said roll call.
Yeah, but the yeah is real faint.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if you guys heard that, but yeah, as far as the howls and the scream, that was. I don't know if did you guys hear that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick,
very familiar.
I can send it to you, Patrick. If you want to friend me on Facebook or whatever, I can send it to you. You can put earbuds in and listen. That was just the most. It blew our mind because the voice was, perfect for matching this guy that was a skeptic. And it was just so eerie that they picked up, and it was like a parrot, but got the voice down perfect.
There are some creepy characteristics and observations made of these species of beings.
Yeah.
And I'm not into the woo. I'm really not. I've seen them walk. I've tracked them through icy water in January. And someone asked me, well, do you think they teleport? I think if they could teleport, they wouldn't walk through icy water in January.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
No, I don't think they're wormholes. I don't think they teleport. I don't think that they cloak.
Well, I don't know about that.
I just think they're damn good at camouflage. I don't believe in the cloaking. I mean, everything I've seen where somebody's shown something of a cloak, It reminds me of Predator. You know
Well,
how it
in
did
the
that.
daytime. In the daytime, I've seen them just full out. There they are. There's no hiding it, you know. But at night, I don't have them show up in a light like they should. You know, I can spotlight a deer, and I can see the deer's eyes and his whole body. But I spotlight one of these, you see his eyes, you don't see his whole body. And that's just weird to me. I can't explain it. I'm not saying they're cloaking. Go ahead.
Now, Patrick, if I may, with what you just said, I could relate to that because 2014 encounter that 6 of us shared together, we end up seeing a total of 3 of them, and that was all that was visible was the eye shine. This was after midnight. We all had headlamps on. A couple of us had some bright lamps on, but that's all we were seeing is the eye shine. Now, it wasn't until the tallest one that we estimated it was right around 8 foot tall, turned to the left, took a step, and looked back. Now, when it made that maneuver, at that point, that was the only time a silhouette was made out. It was basically from the upper chest, because you could see the shape of the broad shoulders and around. But the whole time, that's all it was, just basically yellow, bright, large yellow eye shine.
Yeah.
But the only thing I could think of, I mean, it was late after midnight, dark as could be. They were about 25, but because they had been dark themselves, you know.
Well,
yeah, I mean, that was, I don't know. That's interesting that you shared that.
Well, I was at 6 feet. I started off at 6 feet with this one, with a 1500 lumen spotlight.
Oh wow!
I should have lit this whole thing up.
Yeah.
I should have lit the whole thing up.
Yeah.
But you know, he had big green pupils, about 9 inches apart, and then an amber color, you know, around them, you know. And it started off at 4 feet. I didn't know what it was. You know, I'm tracking in the dark, and I hit it in the face, and I'm looking at it as it starts standing up, and it gets my height. I start backpedaling, and it hits up. It gets to 7 foot. The eye shine is at 7 foot. I'm backpedaling back to the 2 people I'm tracking for to stop them, and the only words I could get out was "eye shine 7 feet right there." You know, that was the only. And I was scrambling to get those words out of my mouth without my brain having a wedgie, you know. Because,
was it like, Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, it's just I have two huge fears. One of them is I'm tracking at night and I'm walking along and I see 2 pairs of feet, and one of them ain't mine.
Yeah.
You know, that's one fear of mine. The second one is that I'm in my bedroll and something drags me off. That's like the second one. That's the second huge fear. So in 1 year, I faced both of these things, you know, but I was just caught up short when it got my height and kept going up, and I can't see the chest. I see the eyes, and I watch this thing slowly turn its head. It slowly turned its head, and I have the spotlight on the side of its head. And right now, maybe 12 feet apart because I was backpedaling. And I got a spotlight on its side of its head. You can't see anything except the corner of its eye. As it turns and faces away from me, and that's when I can see in the brightest spot of my light, see matted fur V-shaped because it had been raining that afternoon. And it's just matted fur. And wherever I move that bright spot at, you can find the hair, you know. But it's huge. And it takes off away from me. It runs 40 yards in the bush. It turns back around. I see them big green pupils again. And I said, okay. I said, ladies, follow me. And I did a U-turn, went back to the creek, went back up the creek, back to where my truck was parked. And I said, that's as much as I want tonight, you know. But
green's a very rare color that I've ever heard of. You know, everybody one thing everybody goes to is the red. I have seen the red, but one color I've really seen in it. I mean, it's almost angelic. It's like a blue with a light shining through it. If that means like it's white coming through it. And
I think it's the clan you're dealing with and the genetics you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Because in Arkansas, my tracking partner and I turned the corner and we saw one out there 100 yards, 105 yards, red. They look like they're self-illuminating, but they're not. I know they're collecting, light. But the guy behind me has red lights on his IR camera. His big IR illuminator has like 20-something illuminators. They're all glowing red.
Yeah.
So I look out there and I see the red eyes. And so I can attribute the red eyes to being a physical property of Sasquatch or the light that's being collected by them.
See, I've always wondered if it was genetics because we had a friend of mine and I had this discussion just this last week about, you look at how we are with the eye genetic, we get our eye color in a certain way. And then sometimes I wonder if it's attributed to their mood, if they're threatened, if you're too close, you get red. And then otherwise you get the brown or, whatnot. But green and blue are definitely two of the rarest I've heard other people talk about and that I've seen. I've actually never seen green, though. I've seen the blue.
What if I told you that it had to do with the amount of blood that was pumped into the eyes, depending on...
That's a thought, too.
Because it changes the diameter of the rod cells in the eyes.
I never thought of that.
That would coincide right along with your red eyes when they're mad.
Yeah, that's I wondered about that.
Well, that's funny.
Ward people off.
Yeah, the color of eye shine can be, I like to say, controversial. It can be very misleading to the untrained eye. The only reason I'm bringing this up too is I've heard numerous share the red eyes, related to Bigfoot. But most common are amber, the yellowish. I have heard the green color eyes before. The blue, a lot of times, if you guys are familiar with deer, they look like blue marbles, basically glowing.
Yep.
Because right prior to our encounter, just a few short moments prior to that, on the opposite side of the forest road as we were hiking up, there was a deer there. But it's funny because all we saw is very close to us. Very close to us. We knew it was a deer, but it's funny, all we saw was the eye shine as it was bobbing while we was walking. No, we didn't even see the body of that. That I thought was strange related to the encounter itself. But I think people got to, again, to the more of the amateurs, to the those with the untrained eye, because I'll tell you, a great majority of red eye shine that I ever seen at night, I could guarantee you, I can promise you, it was all related to bears, black bears. Because we have a lot of black bears up here. I've seen them a lot at nighttime. Across the roads in front of me. But yeah,
we got black and brown here.
And a lot of I'm only stating enough for you guys, but for those who have the untrained eye and some of the amateurs, just be careful with red eye shine because again, bears have red eye shine.
It's basically like a stop sign.
Gary. And Gary said something too that reminded me. Now, not out here. We don't have no grizzly bears out here, but I know grizzly bears out there. Wherever they have them out west, northwest. Their eyes will be red too, and they'll stay red for a while because that's usually when they're aggression. Have aggression. So,
guys, I'm fixing to
they
throw
have red eye shine.
Red eye. All of y'all's theories in a pot and meld it up and give you the answer to that in my own personal theory. Everybody knows us here at Two Bears Outdoors and P3. We do a lot of photography. I photograph my dog extensively. Y'all know that. Eye positioning on the head. You was talking about the black
the red eye shine camera.
The black bears' eyes are set on the side of their head. A Sasquatch head, they're set in the front. So a lot of the times when you get the red eye shine from a dog, I've got the photographical evidence to prove it, and I've also got the backing of an optometrist here in Oklahoma. But the angle that they're setting at will directly influence and change the color because of and also with the blood pressure, because it opens up the rod cells. In the military, they teach us, Patrick, me and you had this discussion the other night. Daniel, we've had this discussion a bunch. They teach you not to look directly at something at night. You do a 6-degree pattern in S around. That way you go to new.
Yeah, your peripheral looks better.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel was talking about the deer having the blue lights. Their eyes are actually functioning different than a predator's eyes. It's funny. A deer, if you look at the lizard world, their eyes are shaped and done different. Predators' eyes, cougars, bears, humans, most chimps are forward-focusing eyes, but a bear has the advantage of being set on the side of their head. So they have a better night vision than we do because of the angle of the eyes. It's everything that y'all have said in the last 3 minutes is all rolled together, and it coordinates with each other. Beautiful discussion. Beautiful discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's true. Like with eye shine, there's so many variables. There's so many variables. I've taken pictures of my dog at night with a flash, and it could go from green to red.
Absolutely.
And just my dog. So that's not supernatural or anything weird, That's just how the optics, if you will, work, So yeah, eye shine is definitely one thing. As far as the lighting versus the actual lighting, the reflection, and your perception of it, right? Because you gotta remember, at the end of the day, it's what your eyes see, not what their eyes are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Y'all make me missing my dog.
Absolutely. Yeah. Eye shine discussions.
Yeah, my little chihuahua jumped in my lap to say hi to Pat.
Speaking of dogs, folks, I'm going to have to go exercise mine. Everybody knows I've got a high power. I'm serious. Actually, if you look on my page, you'll see my videos of my dog. But I've got to jump off here and go take care of him. But,
okay, I thought you meant something different.
Yeah, Daniel.
No, I've literally got to. Patrick, you've seen the videos, and so has Daniel and all them of him attacking the barrel in the backyard. Well, I've got to go exercise. I've got to train circus.
If you don't mind, if Daniel share your information, I'd love to be friends, and that way I could send you that clip.
Actually, me and you've been friends for about a year, sis.
Have we?
Yeah.
I'm Poor Boys Paranormal.
Look, I am senile. Okay.
I sent you a message a little bit earlier. Yeah, I mean, well, everybody, when I'm over here with Daniel, and that's what I love about Daniel's show and Pat's show, I don't have to be Poor Boys. I can be me. When I'm doing Poor Boys, I have to be professional and all that. And when I come over here with Daniel, I can just be me.
Damn it, being forced to be professional.
Guys, thank you so much. Gary. It's been a blessing.
Good to see you.
Absolutely. Well,
bye.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on, Gary.
Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah, and I tell you what, while we got everybody here, I'm going to go ahead. We've been over just a hair over 2 hours, and I think it's been a really great discussion tonight. But I do want to remind everybody before we close, next Friday, the 18th, September 18th, we'll be picking back up with our South Carolina Bigfoot encounter.
Cool.
Eyewitness with Mr. Scott Phillips from South Carolina. So that will be at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And actually Saturday, the 19th, I'll actually be back. Now I'll be on some radio podcast show. I'm not sure exactly how he's going to have me on it. I think he does it. What do you call it? What's that one a lot of people use? I don't know. Anyway, I'll figure it out. Once I do, I'll share it. It'll be live from what I understand. So, but this is September 18th, 9 p.m. So, and then from there, I'll get things scheduled out for other upcoming. And then tomorrow, actually, is it tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. For those in the podcast that we do, it's all political talk and everything news. So that will be on tomorrow. I'll have that shared around on Facebook. So, but for those who have tuned in on the chat, thank you guys. And if you haven't subscribed, if you're on YouTube, if you're new to the YouTube show, go ahead and subscribe and follow the ECBRO like page on Facebook that you're viewing this from. And before we get off of here, Patrick, we'll start with Patrick Vaugn. We usually do the last word. If you have anything you want to throw out there, share.
I've been fighting to get out the awareness. Be aware of your surroundings when you're in the woods, because they are there. Whether you believe in them, they know about you. So be careful out there. They are always watching you.
Absolutely. Ashley, what about you?
I will say, I'll second what Patrick said, because and not only do you need to be aware about them, be aware about other animals, because they are always out there. They're out there more than the Bigfoot are when it comes down to it. So always watch your back. Make sure that you don't do anything crazy. Snake boots, make sure you wear them or do something to protect your legs. But I do have a possible upcoming investigation for a woman that has been having lots of experiences on her land, not too terribly far from me. So if she signs on and, wants to sit down and chat with me and get that set up, I will definitely, and if I do find anything, I'll definitely be ready to share that with y'all. Hopefully I can get some good evidence out of it, but we'll see. I just want all of y'all to be safe. Everybody out there that's listening and listens later. And I see the baby. Oh, Pat, real quick. We were talking about tattoos last time. I cannot believe I didn't show you this one. That's Michonne.
Oh, Michonne. Okay, yeah. I see.
Epic entrance of a character in any movie or series I have ever seen.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all have a good night. Be safe.
Yes.
Do what, Pat?
Yeah, I love Michonne. She's
Nikki.
Yeah.
Denai Guerrero alone's
You want to throw out there?
No, this was a great show. I really enjoyed it. We got a lot of stuff out there, and we had real good comments and questions being asked, and we had a lot of people. We had a lot of people on tonight. That's really great, and we've got some really good shows coming up. So everybody be nice to each other. There's enough crap going on in the world not to.
Amen.
And help the little guys, help the small business people, please, if you can. And that includes my sister with Sister Side Chat, Suzanne. She has her own Etsy business called Mystic Healings 333. You should check it out because she's got some really cool handmade jewelry in there. And it's really cool. And that's how she's supporting herself right now. So Mystic Healings 333 on Etsy.
I'll look it up.
Thank you, everybody.
Word.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And the man himself from Squash Talk.
Hold on. I got it.
He's got to get in.
I love the new
character.
Pat. I love your haircut.
Thank you. Wait.
There we go.
So, yeah, great discussion tonight, guys. Very interesting to have you on, Patrick. I'd like to talk with you more about what you do and how you do it. Again, let's rewind back into the podcast now. We're rewinding, and you did 11 days on horseback primitive out in the woods, and you're the first person I've ever heard say that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's Bob Gimlin kind of stuff going on there. And I've always criticized, Bigfoot researchers for not going out in the woods on horseback. Because obviously, to me, I was like, wow, I think that was a factor in their result. For whatever reason, So yeah, thanks for coming on and telling us your story. We'd love to talk to you more, man. And I'm totally interested more in about your tracking abilities and things like that. It's very interesting to me. It's because again, it's hard to get the jump on these things. So if you're ever around them consistently, I want to know what that's all about. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah, I'll come to Oklahoma and East Texas, man. I'll bring my thermal drone. You tell me where a Sasquatch is, and I'll show you a Sasquatch. So
I know where about 6 families are right now living.
Well, then I'll show them to you.
Some of them
personal in a way you've never seen.
Pat, you need to come to Alabama with it.
And there too, I know. As soon as that thermal drone drops in my lap, I'm going to be a very busy person with it. I know that. Yeah.
Patrick, you got my full name, not to cut you off, but send me a friend request.
All right.
But yeah, guys,
I'm anxious to see what
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see what the thermal drone will pick up. That's going to be some good stuff right there.
Oh, dude, it'll pick up everything that's never been picked up.
Yeah, no, I'm done.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. Or they're not there. They don't exist. Yeah, they don't exist.
How about if I could tell you that I can look at a map and narrow down within about a mile of where their feet are and where they're living at?
Then I can literally find them in 5 minutes.
Because I've tracked them enough to know what their criteria are for their home site. But as I said, I just hope they show up on thermal.
Well, they should. Here's the thing with thermal, dude. They have a heat. If they have body heat, they can't hide that signature.
Yeah.
They cannot hide it. It will come off them.
Yeah.
So I know what you were saying earlier about the lights and how you thought that was weird. Okay. But if they can hide from thermal, they are not flesh and blood creatures of this earth. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, they showed up for state. What about Stacy Brown Jr.? If that's a real Bigfoot, it showed up for him on thermal.
Well, so,
if that was a real Bigfoot, it would have to.
And this is advanced thermal. This isn't like what Stacy was using. This isn't like pocket thermal. This isn't
but
poor man's thermal. This is $10,000, military grade, like what would have been 10 years ago, military grade thermal.
That's awesome.
The signatures are off the charts, dude. You cannot hide from them no matter what. And if you can, then I can actually prove that they're not flesh and blood, that they're supernatural beings if I can't find them where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, myself and another person actually argued about a thermal image that we captured of one, and they're trying to say, well, it's not one because the trees are hotter than what the subject is. But the subject was at 90 yards. It was one of these things you plug into a phone and deal with. You know, I don't know what the quality of that is. I don't know anything about it.
That's very low quality.
Yeah, you don't get range on those. That's the sad thing about it.
But you can see it out peeking out from behind a tree.
But here's the problem.
Yeah, I used to have.
And I've learned this with thermal technology because because I've always believed in thermal technology. But what I've learned is that when you go out there and you get on their linear plane, right, you're face to face, they're always going to behave the same. They're always going to duck and cover. But when you get above them, they don't know you're there. There's no way they can ever know you're there. So you have a platform to look down on them. They don't even know you're looking at them because you're 2 miles away, you know? Yeah. And that's the kind of range that we have on these drones. Easily 2 miles. Could be 4 miles. And so they have no awareness of people around them. So they're just going to be tramping around in the woods doing their thing, you know, breaking sticks, pooping, whatever they do, right? Killing deer, whatever.
You poop in the woods?
Yeah. So,
just stay,
you know, I don't know.
Just stay 500 yards off of them. You know, don't try to get closer than 500 yards.
Oh, dude, I'll be a mile away.
Well, here, I'm talking about your drone. Because
but they can't hide from it.
Well, I've been working on a theory that they can sense EMF. I know it sounds a bit out there.
The drone doesn't output anything. Well, it does have an electric charge. You say EMF, so it has a battery. So what?
Well, I was watching a show.
The battery.
I was watching a show, and curiously, they found piles of rocks, and they put an EMF reader on it. The piles of rocks were higher EMF than anything else around them. And so it's a curious theory, if that's true. You know what I mean?
I don't care, dude. I'll tell you this, Patrick. I don't care if they can actually literally see the drone with their eyes and go, "What is that? What are they going to do about it?"
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited. Where are they going to go?
I'm excited.
From it, you know?
I'm excited. I've had so many sure things, so many sure ways that I had planned not work.
I agree, but all those things involve being in their territory on a linear territory, 2-dimensionally, and you're never going to win that fight ever going to win that battle against them. Yeah.
Well, what I was doing is I was taking a small trail cam, disabling the IR on it.
Right.
And I camouflaged it and hid it in a pile of leaves, and I dug a hole in the ground and stuck a radio in it. Now, I've had them come in on, huh?
I've in all my experiences with doing things like that, they know how to avoid it. They always seem to know exactly where it is, no matter how well I hide it.
It's static. Yeah, it's static.
But from a drone's perspective, if he just runs, he's going to be film tired.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
there's
I'm hoping
that's you can do about it, dude. You know,
I'm hoping.
You know, I'm sure people will say, well, they'll shoot laser beams out of their eyes. Or your drone. Okay, well, guess what?
Laser beams out of their eye, and they're like a unicorn.
Guess what? Because I can record everything that's happening on the actual platform where I'm controlling the drone. So if they shoot laser beams out of their eyes and destroy my drone, guess what? I just captured that on film. And there's nothing they can do about it because I'm 2 miles away, except hunt me down and destroy my equipment. And I'm not going into that kind of far-fetched scenario, you know. Like,
just insure it just to be in case, though. Make sure it's insured.
Well, yeah, I'll shoot one. It's no secret, dude. Like, I don't like these things. Just so you know, Patrick, you and I have never met each other. I don't like them. I don't trust them. That's fine. You get close to them. You have your relationships with them. That's you. I don't trust these things at all because I don't know anything about them.
Well,
you know,
I'm very much the same way. I'm very much the same way as you. But it's kind of like when you're training a horse. I use trainers.
Gotta get that trust.
You got to desensitize. You don't ever break a horse. You desensitize something to your presence, you know, and hope it doesn't hurt you. But I don't trust them. I do not trust them as far as I can spit.
Right. All right. Yeah. Well, that's good. You know what? I'm glad to hear that.
But yeah,
that's a little different narrative.
That makes a lot of sense.
Than what could have been thought about your comfortability talking about them and your proximity to them. So I'm glad to hear you say that. I
have a 25-yard minimum. I don't let them close 25 yards unless I whip it in my hand.
Yeah.
Twice I've had to snatch someone behind me and draw a weapon because it broke the 25-yard minimum. But when I pulled a weapon, it turned and went away.
Yeah. Well, I have a 25 mile.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure with you guys.
Yeah, wrap it up, Daniel.
Beautiful picture.
Wrap her up.
God bless America, and we will never forget.
God bless America.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
I was actually meant to show this in the beginning, but so.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we'll definitely have to get into some more discussions later. Yeah, we will definitely get into some more discussion later. This has been great. We need to do more of this. I do miss our open discussions. Don't get me wrong. I love having guests on and hearing their experiences. And of course, when we do this, when we get to have different people on with our open discussions, we get to hear about their stories and their background. So it works out either way. And we can all share opinions and research techniques and everything else. So, but yeah, this was great. And,
anytime you guys
let's go ahead and call it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
What's that again?
I didn't mean to cut you off. Anytime you got an open spot on the panel, shoot me the link, and I'll be more than happy to join. Because I really
absolutely.
I really enjoy talking to y'all. And Pat, don't forget to send me that friend request.
Indeed.
Nikki and Pat, I will send y'all and get your own judgment on them.